My name is Ensley Myers, and I'm 29 years old. 3 weeks ago, at my own baby shower, my mother-in-law handed me an envelope and announced to 50 guests, a list of 47 reasons my son should divorce you. My husband laughed. The room laughed. I didn't. I opened the envelope. I found reason number 23, and I read it out loud. Her face drained of color. That night, every single member of my husband's family blocked her number. Before I tell you what was in that envelope and why it destroyed her, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. Also, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. I love reading those. Now, let me take you back 4 weeks, to the night my mother-in-law started planning my humiliation. It was a Tuesday night, 10 o'clock. I was lying on the couch with my swollen feet propped up on a pillow. 7 months pregnant, and every part of me ached. Ryan was on the phone with his mother. Again. I could hear Patricia's voice through the speaker, sharp, efficient, like she was running a board meeting instead of discussing a baby shower. "I've got everything planned," she said. "The caterer, the decorations, the guest list. Just tell Ensley not to worry about a thing." Tell Ensley, not ask Ensley. Ryan glanced at me. "Mom says she's handling it all. Can I talk to her?" He hesitated, then handed me the phone. "Patricia, hi. I was thinking maybe we could—" "Oh, Ensley." Her voice shifted. Sweeter now. The kind of sweet that made my teeth hurt. "You don't need to worry about anything, dear. Just rest. These things require experience. I had an idea for the theme, actually. Something simple." "That's lovely." She cut me off. "But I think my concept fits better. You've never planned a large event, have you?" The pause hung there. I knew what she meant, what she always meant. You didn't have a mother to teach you. "I'll handle everything," she continued. "A mother knows best." Before I could respond, she added, "Oh, by the way, I've invited a few of Ryan's old friends, Melissa too. You remember Melissa?" My stomach tightened. Melissa, Ryan's ex-girlfriend, the one Patricia still sent Christmas cards to. "That's thoughtful," I managed. "Wonderful. Get some rest, dear. You'll need it." The line went dead. Ryan took the phone back. "See? She's got it covered." I stared at the ceiling. Why would she invite Melissa to my baby shower? 1 week before the shower, we had dinner at Patricia's house. I wore my favorite maternity dress. Navy blue, soft fabric, the only thing that still fit comfortably. I'd bought it with my own money, picked it out myself. It made me feel like me. The dining room was full. Ryan, his sister Diane, Aunt Margaret, a few cousins, everyone passing dishes, making small talk. Patricia sat at the head of the table. "Ensley," she said mid-conversation, loud enough for everyone to hear. "That dress is interesting." I looked down. "Thank you. Navy is tricky, though." She tilted her head. "Dark colors can make a woman look so heavy, especially when she's carrying." The table went quiet. "I'm comfortable in it," I said. "Of course you are," she smiled. "Comfort is important. I just think, if your mother were here, she might have mentioned that." The silence stretched. Aunt Margaret's fork paused mid-air. Diane stared at her plate. Ryan cleared his throat. "Mom, come on!" But he didn't finish. He never finished. I kept my smile in place. "I appreciate the advice, Patricia, but I'm comfortable with who I am." She blinked, then laughed, light, dismissive. "Of course, dear." After dinner, I was washing my hands in the bathroom when Diane slipped in. "Hey." She closed the door behind her. "I'm sorry about her. I know she's been difficult." I met her eyes in the mirror. "It's fine." "It's not." Diane bit her lip. "Listen, there's something I need to tell you, but not here." "What do you mean?" "Can we meet tomorrow? Just us?" The urgency in her voice made my chest tighten. "Okay," I said. "Tomorrow." She nodded once, then left. What did Ryan's sister know that I didn't? We met at a coffee shop the next morning. Diane was already there when I arrived, stirring a latte she hadn't touched. She looked nervous. That made two of us. "Thanks for coming," she said as I sat down. "You're scaring me a little. What's going on?" Diane took a breath. "I work at First National, you know that. I handle transactions for the branch." I nodded. "Last week I was processing account reviews, routine stuff." She paused. "I came across a withdrawal from your joint savings, yours and Ryan's." "Okay." $11,000, Ensley. The number hit me like cold water. That's not right. Ryan didn't mention any withdrawal." "Because he didn't make it." Diane's voice dropped. "The authorization came through a linked account, someone with secondary access." "Who has secondary access to our savings?" She looked at me, and I knew. "Ryan added her years ago," Diane said quietly. "Before you were married. For emergencies, he said." "Patricia took $11,000 from our account?" "She didn't take it officially. She transferred it through the linked access." Diane slid a piece of paper across the table. "Here's the statement. The date matches her new antique collection she's been bragging about." I stared at the numbers. Black and white. Undeniable. "Why are you telling me this?" Diane met my eyes. "Because it's wrong, and you deserve to know." I folded the paper carefully, slipped it into my purse. "Does Ryan know?" "I don't think so." $11,000. Gone. Without a word to either of us. "What are you going to do?" Diane asked. I didn't answer. Because I didn't know yet. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to pretend this was okay. That night, I waited until Ryan got home. "Can we talk?" He dropped his bag by the door. "Sure. Everything okay?" "Did you know your mom has access to our savings account?" He paused. "Yeah. I added her years ago, before us." "Emergency access. Why?" "Check the balance." He pulled out his phone, opened the banking app. I watched his face change. "What the? There's 11,000 missing." "I know." "How do you know?" "Diane told me. She saw the transaction at work." Ryan stared at the screen. Then he called his mother. I listened to his side of the conversation, the confusion, the questions. And then, the shift. "She says she borrowed it," he said, hanging up. "For my birthday gift. She was going to pay it back." "Borrowed." I let the word sit there. Without asking. She said it slipped her mind to mention it. $11,000 slipped her mind? "Ensley." He rubbed his face. "She said she'll pay it back. Let's not make this a big deal. You know how she gets." There it was. The phrase I'd heard 100 times. You know how she gets. Translation: don't upset her, don't challenge her. Keep the peace. "Ryan, she took money from our account, without permission. That's not a misunderstanding. She's my mother. And I'm your wife." He sighed, looked at the floor. "Please," he said quietly. "Just don't bring this up at the baby shower. I don't want drama." I stood there, 7 months pregnant, holding proof his mother had stolen from us. And he was asking me to stay quiet. "I guess we'll see," I said. I didn't promise anything. Because I was done making promises I couldn't keep. The day before the shower, Patricia called me directly. That almost never happened. "Ensley, darling." Her voice was honey over steel. "I wanted to confirm a few details." "Of course." "The photographer needs to know colors for the shots. I've coordinated everything in yellow and cream, so I'll need you to wear something that matches." I looked at the dusty rose dress hanging in my closet, the one I'd already chosen. "I have a dress picked out. Dusty rose." Silence. Then, "Oh, is that a problem?" "Well," she laughed lightly. "Yellow would photograph so much better. I've already briefed the team." "Then tell them I'll be in dusty rose." Another pause. Longer this time. "Of course, dear." The sweetness curdled. "Whatever makes you comfortable." I'd heard that phrase before, From her. It never meant what it said. Patricia, is there something else? Actually, yes. Her tone shifted, warmer now, almost conspiratorial. I have a little surprise planned for you at the party. Something I've been working on for quite some time. My grip tightened on the phone. What kind of surprise? Now, if I told you, it wouldn't be a surprise, would it? She laughed. Don't worry. I think everyone will love it. It's very personal. Personal. The word sat wrong in my stomach. I just want everything perfect, she continued. For the family. You understand, don't you? I understand perfectly. Wonderful. See you tomorrow, dear. Get plenty of rest. She hung up. I stood in my bedroom, one hand on my belly, the other still holding the phone. A surprise. Something personal. Something she'd been planning for quite some time. Every instinct I had was screaming. But I had no proof of anything. Not yet. The morning of the shower, Claire arrived early. She found me in the bedroom, half-dressed, staring at the bank statement on my dresser. You look like you're preparing for battle, she said. Maybe I am. Claire sat on the edge of the bed. We'd been friends since college. She was a nurse, practical and unshakable, the kind of person who stayed calm in emergencies. Tell me everything. So I did. The $11,000. Diane's warning. Ryan asking me to keep quiet. Patricia's surprise. Claire listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, And you're still going to this party? I have to. If I skip, I'm the bad guy. She wins either way. So what's the plan? I looked at the dusty rose dress, at the bank statement, at my reflection in the mirror. No plan, I said. I'm just going to show up, smile, and get through it. Claire raised an eyebrow. That doesn't sound like you. What do you mean? You're an analyst, Ensley. You don't walk into situations without data. I almost smiled. She knew me too well. I opened my purse and pulled out the folded bank statement, showed it to her. I have the data, I just don't know if I'll use it. Claire looked at the paper, then at me. Whatever happens today, she said, I've got your back, and my phone is fully charged. For what? Documentation. She shrugged. You never know. I hugged her. For a moment, I felt less alone. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. She pulled back, grinning. Let's go watch your mother-in-law's surprise. I have a feeling it's going to be memorable. She had no idea how right she was. Patricia's house looked like a magazine spread. Yellow and white balloons clustered in archways. Streamers caught the afternoon light. A banner over the fireplace read, Welcome Baby Myers, in gold cursive. 50 guests milled about with champagne and finger foods. Cousins, aunts, family friends. Some I knew, most I didn't. It was beautiful, and not a single detail had been run by me. Ryan squeezed my hand as we walked in. See, Mom really outdid herself. I nodded, smiled, said nothing. The first person I noticed was Melissa. She stood near the gift table, blonde hair perfect, wearing a yellow dress that matched the decorations exactly. When she saw me, she smiled, slow and knowing. Had Patricia coordinated their outfits? Ensley, there you are! Patricia swept toward us, arms outstretched. She wore cream silk, pearls at her throat. Picture-perfect hostess. She pulled me into a hug, close, tight. Our beautiful mama-to-be, she announced to the room. Everyone applauded. But as she held me, she whispered, Glad you didn't wear yellow. Makes things easier. Before I could ask what she meant, she released me and turned to greet another guest. Makes things easier. I found Claire across the room. She raised her eyebrows in a silent question. I shook my head slightly. The next hour was a blur of small talk and forced smiles. Every few minutes I caught Patricia watching me, pleased, anticipatory. Then, at exactly 3 o'clock, she clinked a fork against her champagne glass. The room fell quiet. Everyone, please gather around, Patricia announced, beaming. Before we continue, I have a very special presentation for Ensley, something I've been working on for months. My heart began to pound. This was it, the surprise, and I had a terrible feeling I knew what was coming. Before Patricia could continue, the front door opened. Diane hurried in, cheeks flushed, slightly out of breath. She scanned the room until her eyes found mine. Something was wrong. I could see it in her face. "Sorry I'm late," she announced to no one in particular, already making her way toward me. Patricia frowned. "Diane, we're about to start the presentation. Just 1 minute, Mom." Diane reached me, took my elbow, and guided me toward the window, away from the crowd. "What's going on?" I whispered. "I heard Mom on the phone last night." Diane's voice was barely audible. "She was talking to Aunt Ruth about some list. I don't know what it is, but she sounded excited. In a bad way." My mouth went dry. "What kind of list?" "I don't know. But whatever she's planning, be careful." I glanced back at Patricia. She was watching us, smile fixed in place, eyes sharp. "Diane, listen to me." Diane gripped my arm. "If anything happens, remember what you have. The bank statement. That's not nothing. You think she'd actually— I don't know what she'll do, but I know my mother." Diane's jaw tightened. "She thinks she's untouchable. She thinks no one will challenge her in public. What if she wrote something down, something incriminating?" Diane's eyes widened slightly. "Then she just handed you the weapon." "Diane! Ensley!" Patricia's voice cut through. "We're waiting, ladies." Diane squeezed my hand once. "I'll be right here." She stepped away. I walked back to the center of the room where 50 pairs of eyes watched me. Patricia smiled, and I realized, whatever was in that envelope, Patricia had no idea what she'd actually written. Time to find out. As I moved through the crowd, a hand caught my wrist. Aunt Margaret. She was seated on the sofa near the window, champagne untouched beside her. Ryan's aunt had always been quiet at family gatherings, observing, never speaking. "Sit with me a moment," she said. I sat. "How are you holding up, sweetie?" "I'm fine, just tired." She studied my face. "I've known Patricia for over 30 years, since she married my brother." "I didn't know that." "Most people don't." Margaret glanced across the room, where Patricia was arranging something near the gift table. "She's never liked anyone who doesn't follow her rules." "Did she treat you like this too?" Margaret's smile was thin. "Worse, but I didn't have proof." I felt the weight of the bank statement in my purse. "Do you?" she asked quietly. I didn't answer, just held her gaze. Margaret nodded slowly. "Good. Keep it close." "Why are you telling me this?" She was silent for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was heavy with something old. "Years ago, Patricia convinced my brother I was stealing from the family. I wasn't." Her eyes glistened. "But I couldn't prove it, and Richard died believing her lies. I'm so sorry." "Don't be sorry. Be smart." She squeezed my hand. "If she tries anything today, don't let her win with silence. Silence is how she's won for 30 years. Everyone, gather around." Patricia's voice rang. Margaret released my hand. "Go. And remember what I said." I stood, walked toward the center of the room. 50 guests formed a semicircle. Ryan stood near his mother, smiling, oblivious, and Patricia held a white envelope. The room fell silent. This was it. "Okay, I need to pause here for a second. If you're as invested in this story as I was living through it, drop a comment and tell me, what would you do if your mother-in-law handed you an envelope like this? Would you open it in front of everyone? Would you walk away? I'm genuinely curious. And if you're enjoying this, please hit that like button. It really helps." Now, back to the party. Patricia stood in the center of the room, white envelope in hand. The afternoon light caught the pearls at her throat. She looked every inch the gracious hostess, warm, welcoming, benevolent. "Ensley, sweetheart." She extended her hand. "Come here." I walked toward her. Each step felt like wading through water. 50 guests watched, smiling, expectant. They thought this was part of the celebration. "I've put so much thought into this moment," Patricia said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "As a mother, I only want the very best for my son." Murmurs of agreement, nods. Someone said, "How sweet." Patricia held out the envelope. "This is a list," she announced, "of 47 reasons my son should divorce you." For 1 second, the room was completely silent. Then Ryan laughed. It started small, a surprised chuckle. Then it spread. Aunt Ruth laughed. Cousin David laughed. A woman I didn't recognize laughed so hard she dabbed her eyes. They thought it was a joke, a gag gift, mother-in-law humor. Patricia laughed too, her eyes crinkling at the corners. But I noticed. Her gaze never left my face. This wasn't a joke. She wanted to see me break. Ryan nudged me. "Come on, babe, open it." I took the envelope. It was heavier than I expected. "Go ahead," Patricia said sweetly. "Read it. It's all in good fun." Her smile sharpened. "Unless you're afraid of what you'll find?" Another ripple of laughter from the crowd. I looked at Ryan. He was still smiling, waiting for me to play along. I looked at the envelope in my hands, and I thought about every dismissive comment, every backhanded compliment, every time I'd stayed silent to keep the peace. I wasn't afraid. I was done. I opened the envelope. Inside were 4 pages, white paper, neatly typed, numbered 1 through 47. The room was still buzzing with amusement. Someone whispered, "This is priceless." Another said, "Patricia's such a character." I began to read. Number 1. She doesn't know how to cook a proper roast. Number 4. She convinced my son to move 20 minutes away from me. Number 7. She works too much. A wife should be home. Number 15. She's too independent. A good wife relies on her husband. The complaints were petty, small. The kind of grievances a bitter woman collects over years, polishing them like stones. But I kept reading. Number 19. She didn't invite me to her doctor's appointment. Number 21. She won't let me decorate the nursery. And then I reached number 23. I read it once, then again. My heart stopped. "Well?" Patricia's voice broke through. "Anything interesting?" I looked up, met her eyes. Around me, 50 people waited. Claire stood in the corner, phone in hand. Diane hovered near the door, pale. Aunt Margaret watched from the sofa, hands folded. Ryan was grinning. "Come on, read some out loud. This is hilarious." Patricia tilted her head. "Yes, dear, share with the class." I looked at the words one more time. Reason number 23. She doesn't even know I accessed their joint bank account to withdraw money for Ryan's birthday gift. Proof she doesn't pay attention to their finances. She'd written it down. Patricia had actually written down her own confession, and she had no idea. I lifted my head. "May I read this one out loud?" Patricia's smile widened, triumphant. "Of course, dear. Whichever one you like." I took a breath, and I began to speak. My voice was steady, calm. I didn't raise it. I didn't need to. Reason number 23. The room leaned in. She doesn't even know I accessed their joint bank account to withdraw money for Ryan's birthday gift. Proof she doesn't pay attention to their finances. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. Complete. I continued, same measured tone. For the record, I did know. The withdrawal was $11,000. I reached into my purse, pulled out the folded bank statement. "I have the documentation right here." Patricia's face went white, not pale, white, like someone had pulled a plug and drained every drop of color from her skin. That's," she stammered. First time I'd ever heard Patricia Whitmore at a loss for words. Ryan stepped forward. "Wait, Mom, you took money from our account?" "I was going to pay it back." Patricia's voice pitched high. "It was for your birthday." "You never asked me." "I didn't need to ask. I'm your mother." Aunt Margaret stood up from the sofa. Her voice cut through the room like a knife. You accessed their account without permission. She walked toward Patricia. That's not borrowing, that's stealing. The whispers started, low at first, then louder. $11,000? Without telling them? She wrote it down? I stood perfectly still. I hadn't accused anyone, hadn't raised my voice, hadn't made a scene. I'd simply read her own words back to her. Patricia spun around, searching for allies. But everywhere she looked, she found only stares. Shock. Disgust. Diane stepped forward. It's true. I work at the bank. I saw the transaction myself. Diane! Patricia's voice cracked. You're siding with her? I'm siding with the truth, Mom. The room erupted. Everything happened at once, voices overlapped, questions fired from every direction. How long has this been going on? Did Ryan know? Is this why she's been so hostile? Patricia stood frozen in the middle of the chaos, mouth opening and closing like a fish pulled from water. Aunt Margaret wasn't finished. This isn't the first time, is it, Patricia? The room went quiet again. Margaret walked closer. 30 years of silence burned in her eyes. You told my brother I was stealing from the family. Her voice shook. I never stole a thing, but Richard believed you. He died believing your lies. Gasps scattered through the crowd. A cousin spoke up. David, Patricia's own nephew. Wait, is that why Dad stopped talking to Aunt Margaret? She made it up. Margaret's tears spilled over now. All of it, and I spent decades being treated like a criminal. Patricia's composure crumbled. That was different. Different how? Margaret cut her off. You lied about me. Now you've stolen from your own son. And then you wrote it down. Movement near the gift table. Melissa stepped forward. Mrs. Whitmore. Her voice was quiet but carried. You told me you invited me because Ensley wanted old friends here. That wasn't true, was it? Another murmur swept the room. Patricia had invited Ryan's ex-girlfriend to his wife's baby shower under false pretenses. I was trying to... Patricia started. You were trying to hurt me, I said. Not angry, just clear. You've been trying to hurt me since the day we met. I held up the list. These are your words, Patricia, not mine. All 47 of them. She had no response. For the first time in 30 years, Patricia Whitmore had nothing to say. Ryan stood between us. I watched him process it. The list, the money, the lies. Years of conditioning cracking like ice under sudden weight. Patricia reached for him. Ryan, honey, you know I only did this because I love you. She's changing you. She's taking you away from me. Mom, his voice was rough. I was trying to protect you. From what? He stepped back from her touch. From the woman carrying my child? She's not right for you. I've always known it. You took our money. The words came slow, like he was hearing them for the first time. You made a list to humiliate my wife. At her own baby shower, in front of our entire family. And you invited my ex-girlfriend. Melissa quietly slipped toward the door. Patricia's eyes darted around the room. Everyone's overreacting. This is just a misunderstanding. $11,000 isn't a misunderstanding. Ryan's jaw tightened. A 47-item list isn't a joke. I stayed silent. This wasn't my fight to win. It was his. He had to choose. The room held its breath. I think you should leave, Mom. Patricia's face crumpled. You're choosing her? Over your own mother? Ryan looked at me, at my belly, at the life we were building, then back at her. I'm choosing my family, the one I'm building, with her. Patricia grabbed her purse. Her hands shook. She walked toward the door and the crowd parted like water. At the threshold, she turned, her eyes locked on mine. This isn't over, she said. I met her gaze without flinching. I think it is. The door slammed behind her. For a moment, No one moved. Then Aunt Margaret lifted her champagne glass. Well, that was 30 years overdue. The door's echo faded. 50 people stood in Patricia's perfectly decorated living room, surrounded by yellow balloons and streamers, trying to make sense of what just happened. Then, unexpectedly, someone laughed. It was Aunt Ruth, a small, shocked giggle that broke the tension. "I've waited 20 years to see that woman speechless," she said. A few others laughed. Nervous, relieved laughter. Diane crossed the room to me. "I'm so sorry about all of this. Are you okay?" I took a breath. Let it out. "I think I'm better than I've been in months." Claire appeared at my side, phone still in hand. She leaned in close. "I got it all on video, just in case." I nodded. "Not for revenge, just for protection. There's a difference." Ryan came to me then. His face was pale, eyes red. "Ensley." His voice broke. "I'm sorry. I should have seen this sooner." I took his hand. "You see it now. That's what matters." Around us, the baby shower slowly resumed, awkwardly at first, then with genuine warmth. Someone cut the cake, someone else started opening gifts, but the mood had shifted, lighter somehow, like a pressure valve had finally released. Patricia's cousin Ellen found me near the dessert table. "Thank you," she said quietly. Someone needed to stand up to her. We've all been too afraid. Similar whispers reached me throughout the afternoon. Relatives I'd barely met, friends of the family, all with the same message. It was about time. I didn't expose her. She exposed herself. I just read what she wrote. By the time we left that evening, I realized something had changed. For the first time since I'd married Ryan, I didn't feel like an outsider in his family. I felt like I belonged. Before the party ended, a small group gathered in Patricia's study. Ryan, me, Diane, Aunt Margaret. The door closed behind us. "We need to talk about next steps," Margaret said. Ryan sat on the edge of Patricia's desk. The desk where she probably typed that list. "I'm removing her access from our accounts first thing tomorrow." "Good," Diane said. "That should have been done years ago." "And the 11,000? I asked. Diane pulled out her phone, checking something. "Legally, you have options. The withdrawal was unauthorized. You could pursue it." "I don't want to sue her." I shook my head. "I just want boundaries." "Then make them clear." Margaret's voice was firm. "In writing, no more family favors, no more access to your finances, your home, or your decisions, not until she earns it back." Ryan nodded slowly. "I'll send her an email. Lay it all out. No contact until she apologizes and pays back the money." "An actual apology," Diane added. "Not her usual, 'I'm sorry you feel that way' nonsense." "And the baby shower?" I looked around the room. "Do we just pretend this didn't happen?" Margaret laughed. It was warm, genuine. "Honey, this is the most honest family gathering I've been to in 30 years. Ryan took my hand. "I'm not cutting her off forever. She's still my mother. But until she takes responsibility, she doesn't get access to our life." I squeezed his hand back. It wasn't a perfect solution. It wasn't even a complete one. But it was a start. Boundaries aren't about punishment. They're about protection. And for the first time in my marriage, I had both my husband and his family standing beside me. That was worth more than any apology. Can I be honest with you for a second? When I was standing there reading that list out loud, my hands were shaking. But I realized something. Silence wasn't protecting me. It was protecting her. If you've ever had to stand up to someone who thought they were untouchable, I see you. Drop a heart emoji in the comments. And if you're new here, please subscribe. We've got more stories coming. Now let me tell you what happened that night. That night, our apartment felt different, quieter, lighter, like a storm had passed and left everything clean. Ryan sat on the couch staring at his phone. "I have 12 messages," he said. From who? Everyone. He scrolled through. Uncle David, Cousin Beth, Aunt Ruth, people who haven't texted me in years. What are they saying? He read a few out loud. Diane. Mom's been calling everyone. No one's answering. Aunt Margaret. Blocked her number. 30 years too late. But better late than never. Cousin Beth. I always knew something was off with her. Thank you for finally proving it. Uncle David. Proud of you, son. That took guts. Ryan set the phone down. His eyes were distant. How do you feel? I asked. He thought for a long moment. Guilty, he said. Relieved, sad, all at once. That's okay. I sat beside him. You're allowed to feel all of it. I spent 31 years thinking her behavior was normal. He turned to look at me. It took you standing up to show me it wasn't. I didn't say anything, just rested my head on his shoulder. His phone buzzed. He checked it, then showed me the screen. He'd blocked Patricia's number. I'll unblock her when she's ready to be a grandmother, he said quietly, not a controller. I thought about the baby growing inside me, about the family I wanted to build. She can still fix this, I said. All she has to do is apologize, genuinely. You think she will? I remembered Patricia's face as she left. The rage, the humiliation, the promise in her eyes. I don't know, I said honestly, but the door's not locked, just closed. Whether she chose to open it was up to her. A week passed. Then the email arrived. Ryan showed me on a Sunday morning, his face carefully neutral. It's from her. I set down my coffee. What does it say? He read it aloud. Dear Ryan, I've had time to reflect on what happened at the shower. I'm deeply hurt that you chose to publicly humiliate me in front of our entire family. Ensley clearly orchestrated this to turn everyone against me. I was only trying to protect you, as I always have. The money was a loan, nothing more. I expected my own son to understand that. I hope you'll reconsider your position and see that I've only ever wanted what's best for you. Love, Mom. He put the phone down. I waited. She's not apologizing, he said finally. She's explaining why she was right. I know. She's blaming you. I noticed. He rubbed his face. What do I do? I thought about it. About Patricia. About second chances. About boundaries that mean nothing if they bend at the first test. That's your call, I said, but if you respond, be clear. He picked up his phone, started typing, deleted it, started again. When he finished, he showed me. Mom, until you genuinely apologize to Ensley and pay back the money, I won't respond. I love you, but I love my family more. You didn't have to mention my name. Yes, I did. He looked at me. You're the reason I finally see clearly. He hit send. We didn't expect a response, and we didn't get one. But 1 week later, Diane called. $11,000, she said. Just appeared back in your account this morning. No note, no message. The money was returned. The apology wasn't. Some things take longer than others. 2 weeks after the money appeared, Diane called again. Her voice sounded different this time, heavier. I need to tell you something about Mom. I braced myself. What happened? She's not doing well. Diane paused. She's alone. No one's talking to her. Margaret blocked her. Ruth blocked her. Even her bridge club dropped her. I didn't tell anyone to block her. I know. They made their own choice. Diane sighed. But she's spiraling. She called me crying last night, said everyone abandoned her. I listened to the silence on the line. How do you feel about that? I asked. Honestly, conflicted. Diane's voice cracked. She's my mother. She's awful. Both things are true. I understood that, more than she knew. She can fix this, Diane. All she has to do is apologize, genuinely. I told her that. She keeps saying she did nothing wrong. Then she's not ready yet. I know. A long pause. I just wanted you to know what's happening with her. In case, I don't know, in case it matters. I looked out the window, thought about the woman who'd spent years making me feel small, who'd stolen from us, who'd tried to destroy my marriage in front of 50 people. I didn't feel happy that she was suffering, but I didn't feel guilty either. Thank you for telling me, I said. And Diane, you're not responsible for her choices. Neither are you. I know. When we hung up, Ryan was watching me. How is she? Lonely, defensive, still not sorry. He nodded slowly. Maybe she never will be. Maybe. I placed my hand on my belly. But until she is, she doesn't get to be part of this. Our baby kicked, right on cue. Some boundaries protect more than one person. 3 months later, I gave birth to our daughter. We named her Lily. The delivery room was small but bright. Ryan held my hand through 18 hours of labor. Claire was there, off duty but refusing to leave. Diane arrived with flowers. Aunt Margaret brought a hand-knitted blanket. Patricia wasn't there. She still hadn't apologized. I held Lily for the first time, this tiny, perfect person, and felt the world shift on its axis. Everything that had happened before suddenly felt smaller, less important. This was what mattered now. She's beautiful, Claire whispered. Claire, she looks like you, Ryan said, tears on his cheeks. I looked at my daughter's face, at her tiny fingers, at the future stretching out ahead of her. She would not grow up in a family where silence was a weapon, where manipulation was love, where standing up for yourself meant standing alone. I would make sure of it. Later that evening, Ryan sat beside my hospital bed, phone in hand. I called Mom, he said quietly, told her about Lily. My heart clenched. What did she say? She cried, asked if she could see her. And? Ryan met my eyes. I said when she's ready to respect my wife, she can meet my daughter. I reached for his hand. That must have been hard. It was. He squeezed my fingers. But it was the right thing. Diane appeared in the doorway. Hey, she said softly. I just wanted you to know. I talked to Mom this morning. She mentioned therapy. Therapy? For the first time in her life. Diane almost smiled. Maybe there's hope. I looked at Lily, sleeping peacefully in my arms. Maybe there was, but hope wasn't the same as trust. That would have to be earned. 6 months after Lily was born, a letter arrived. Not an email, a handwritten letter, on cream stationery, with Patricia's familiar slanted script. I almost threw it away. Instead, I sat at the kitchen table while Lily napped, and I read. It was 2 pages long. She wrote about her childhood, growing up with a mother who never showed affection, learning that love meant control, and control meant safety. She wrote about losing her husband, Ryan's father, and how terrified she'd been of losing Ryan too. Then she wrote this. I convinced myself that if I could control everything around my son, I could keep him safe. But I was wrong. I wasn't protecting him. I was suffocating him. And I was cruel to you because you threatened the only kind of love I knew how to give. I'm sorry. Not sorry you feel that way. Not sorry if I hurt you. I'm sorry for what I did. For the list. For the money. For every time I made you feel like you weren't enough. You are enough. You always were. I was just too broken to see it. I read the letter twice, then a third time. Ryan came home to find me at the table, the pages spread before me. He read it in silence. When he finished, his eyes were wet. What do you want to do? I asked. He looked at me. What do you want? I thought about it. The pain, the humiliation, the scars, but also the possibility. We can meet, I said finally. Once, in a public place, with clear rules. And if she breaks them? Then we're done. Ryan nodded. One more thing, I added. She's not holding Lily until she looks me in the eye and says it in person. Fair. More than fair. But I was willing to try. We met at a coffee shop on a Tuesday afternoon. Neutral ground, public space. Lily and her stroller between us. Patricia looked different, smaller somehow. The sharp edges softened. She wore less makeup, simpler clothes. 6 months of therapy and isolation will do that to a person. She sat across from me, Ryan beside me, a table between us and whatever came next. Thank you for meeting me, she said. Her voice was quieter than I remembered. I nodded, waited. She took a breath. I'm sorry. Her eyes met mine directly. For the list, for the money, for years of making you feel unwelcome in your own family, for using your mother's absence as a weapon. Her voice broke on the last words. I told myself I was protecting my son, but I was just afraid of losing him. And instead of dealing with that fear, I took it out on you. She wiped her eyes. You didn't deserve any of it. And I'm sorry. The coffee shop hummed around us. Normal people having normal conversations. No idea about the history sitting at our table. Thank you for saying that, I said. Patricia's hands trembled on the table. She glanced at the stroller. Can I see her? I looked at Ryan. He gave a small nod. I turned Lily's stroller so Patricia could see. Her granddaughter. 6 months old, sleeping peacefully. Patricia's face crumpled. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She's beautiful. Would you like to hold her? The words surprised even me. Patricia looked at me, startled, hopeful, terrified. Are you sure? I lifted Lily from the stroller, placed her gently in her grandmother's arms. Patricia held her like something precious and fragile, which she was. I watched them together, the woman who had tried to destroy my marriage, holding my daughter. I hadn't forgiven her completely. Maybe I never would, but I'd given her a chance. Because boundaries aren't walls, they're doors. And she'd finally found the courage to knock. And that's where my story ends. For now. Thank you for staying with me through all of this. If this story made you feel something, seen, understood, or just a little less alone, please drop a comment and tell me your thoughts. And if you want more stories like this, check the description below. I've linked some of my favorites. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. And remember, your boundaries are not negotiable.